Multi-million-dollar comments on this story. Please welcome into the show Mr. Dan Geltrude. Dan, thanks for showing up. I noticed it too. You wrote a great piece about it, and I loved it. And that's why I thought we'd start with it, because it's interesting. But yeah, walking away from Penn State with $49 million, or at Texas A&M with $76 million, it's kind of an odd going away present, isn't it?
Well, it really is. And, you know, it's designed to kind of cut both ways. Now, it works when the coach wins, right? Then everybody's happy because there's a lot of money involved. They don't have to worry about getting fired. They pay them so much, they don't have to worry about them leaving. And that's great. When everything works out, Scott, it's easy. However, college football has changed a lot. And what has changed the landscape here? Well, there were two things that really made it a completely different ballgame. You have the NILs, right? That's the name, image, likeness payments, which essentially means the players, excuse me, can now be paid. And on top of that, you have the transfer portal, right? Where basically it allows the players to become free agents. Now, those two things have completely changed how you have to approach college football. It also has now put enormous pressure on coaches to win. And it's not just, you know, you've had a couple big firings this year, which was Florida and Penn State, but it looks like Florida State, Auburn, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Oklahoma, you have some pretty big schools that, rumor has it, are lining up to get rid of their coaches, and that could mean big paydays for those coaches.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You named the two biggest ones, and the thing that I think has really distorted the game, and arguably there's another side of the coin, but I'll start with the bad part. I don't like the way that NIL has gotten in the way of the game. It's really that's really attracted a ton of money. And when you get a lot of money, you get a lot of problems, right? But I will say this: when you're allowing big donors of your school to participate and basically salarying players or funding players, I think to a large degree, Dan, that the parity in college sports, or at least college football nowadays, I mean, just look, last weekend, I think we had 6 or 7 undefeated teams go down in one weekend. I feel as though there's way more parity in the game because the smaller like 15th ranked down to 25th ranked schools, they can get a couple of big boosters in there, and all of a sudden they're going to be able to buy some players and they're going to be able to play up with the big boys. So that, to me, has really made it interesting. And what's really, really, really made it harder for the NIL, for the coach, is the way that these kids can transfer the next year, and that then you ultimately end up. Really, it's really hard to foster some sort of team identity, right? Because you really only have a roster of all-stars because they might be gone next year. That's a problem.
Right. And you know, so it's kind of getting like pro football to some extent, right? Because these schools now, these big-time football schools, they actually have general managers managing things. They're managing NILs. They're managing the transfer portals from the standpoint of, hey, we could pay this player X amount of millions to bring them in. But unlike pro football or other professional sports where you could lock these players into a long-term contract, you know, when you have some really super athletes, you may only be getting them for 2, maybe 3 years, sometimes just 1 year. So again, we go back to college football, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, has completely changed. It's very much parallel now to pro football, Scott, because you got these big booster dollars. And how about this? Some of these rich alums who per se can't own a professional team, they can quasi own a college team. And on top of that, Scott, you may have heard, and some of the viewers out there, where private equity is getting involved now. The Big Ten out there considering private equity ownership in the conference and the teams. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they've blown the doors off it. It's really, I mean, look, for people, I've said it before, but I was a bench warmer for the University of Colorado, so I've got an interest in having been on the team and seeing how things work. But that was a long time ago. But to your point, we had Shedeur Sanders. Everybody knows what happened to him in the latest NFL draft. He dropped to the 5th round. But last year at Colorado, Shedeur Sanders made $5.1 million. Now I think he had another year of eligibility left. He could have stayed around for one more year and made another $5 million. But no, he went to the pros and took a huge pay cut to $950,000, which is the most you can make as a rookie. I'm sure he's got endorsements and the likes. Whatever happens after that, I don't know. But it's to the point now that some of these kids are going to make more in college than they ever will in the pros if they make the pros.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's another new dynamic to college football where you could have players making more money, Scott, as amateurs, multi-millions, right, as in college, as opposed to going to the pros. So now you have a situation where you may actually have some of maybe the high or mid-tier players where they may have considered going into the draft, figuring they would be perhaps in the later rounds, are going to stay in college. Why? Because there's more money. It has nothing to do with the education, right?
I mean, boy, oh boy, who would have thought we would have got to this level? But who would have thought we'd see gold above 4,000 making a move to 5,002? All right, great stuff. Always super to kick the week off with you, Mr. Geltrude, Dan Geltrude, coming to us from, Nutley, New Jersey. I've been there. It's a nice place. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll see you again next week. Can't wait to see what you bring to us again then. That was awesome stuff as usual. Let's take a look at these markets.